Sorry, just give me a second. I was just reading my notes that we had made for a convincing victory by India. 50 runs to get. Last wicket comes in. Convincing victory. Well done, Shardul Thakur. Who's the player of the match? Lots and lots of notes made for that. But hey, cricket doesn't work that way. And it hasn't again. What an unbelievable victory for Bangladesh. Just soak it in one more time. 9th wicket falls with 50 runs to get. Mustafizur Rahman, for all that he's done as a bowler, best known as a specialist number 11, hangs in there with Mehidy Hasan Miraj, who could do no wrong after a good spell with the ball. And unbelievable as it sounds, with 4 overs to spare, that didn't really matter at all. They had lots of time. But to get there with that 1 wicket still standing, 187 for 9, the real star, 38 of 39 deliveries. Never mind Liton Das's innings, that might have even cost them the match. Mehidy Hasan Miraj, the star, the superstar for Bangladesh. Here on Cricbuzz Live, we've thrown all the possible plans out the window and we've got to start afresh. I'm joined by Joy and DK. Joy, how do you put that in perspective?
Spectacular, absolutely spectacular, and they got to it so easily. They did so well. They paced their innings, they went through, and the way he batted, he sort of made sure that he was there, hit a couple of sixes. Kuldeep Sen, that over, he disturbed the rhythm, and then everything changed from there on.
We were talking about a boundary drought, DK, and that was going to be the big thing, our big talking point had Bangladesh gone on to lose, which was the most probable outcome. But what Mehidy Hasan did was he got the boundaries when it mattered and kept them in touch. It was not that they just didn't find a run.
True, I think he batted very cleverly. Looks a very powerful player on the offside. Generally, tailenders are good on the leg side, but he's somebody who looks to hit a lot more on the offside and got a couple of sixes. But what was nice is towards the end of the over, when he had to take a single, he got into good positions to get that single, just walking in, taking the single on the leg side. And then he played with the bowlers a bit, got lucky a bit. But sometimes as a middle order batsman, ask me and I'll tell you, you do need a bit of luck.
Certainly, of course, there was that bit of luck, but just it reminded one of a good old test match where you're playing with number 11, you want to prolong the innings as much as possible, keep batting, farm the strike, 5 balls, take a single, keep going. Obviously, it was a situation like that where the required rate didn't matter.
Yeah, but I think what happened is when he started hitting those couple of balls, it freed him. 9 wickets down, he said, I have to take some risks. So he gets a couple of sixes, gets the ball in the middle of the bat, and suddenly feels he can do it. Suddenly you see 15, 20, 25 runs have gone and the target is from 50 become 25. And that's when you start believing. In fact, that was a crucial part of the match. When you have 50 to chase, you're going to bat very freely because the odds are against you. But when you have 20 to chase, 15 to chase, that's when you think, okay, now I can win this match. And I think he handled that pressure beautifully.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I was going to come to that, and I think Joy put it in perspective perfectly. At 50 to get, you're playing with freedom. But when you start seeing the finish line, a finish line that you shouldn't have seen at all, I think that was the real test of the temperament for Mehidy Hasan, and credit to the number 11 as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think when the scoreboard is slightly far from your reach, you tend to react differently and think differently because you got nothing much to lose. But as the game proceeds on and you get closer to the target, that's when the pressure starts mounting. And that's when the big teams find a way to somehow get through that pressure to you. And that's what didn't happen today. Yes, they had a couple of opportunities, both win a begging, but credit where credit's due. I think he still found a way. I think personally that yes, Mehidy Hasan probably batted well, but India didn't bowl well in that partnership. That's my honest thought.
We'll come, I think, to an assessment of India's bowling in a moment. But just to go back in the Bangladesh innings, the notes we had made had the outcome happened as per what would have happened 9 times out of 10, Joy. And that is Liton Das at the start. We said he needed to be just a little more aggressive, not too much more. It didn't happen. He went into his shell, and then you could see what was happening in the middle order. 14 of 29, 29 of 38, 18 of 45, 14 of 35, Mahmudullah. So no one really took the initiative and got going, and there was that boundary drought for 17 overs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think India had the match then, and it did start with that Shardul Thakur spell. Shardul Thakur comes in, bowls beautifully, 6 overs, 10 runs, 1 wicket, really stymies them. They start getting a bit desperate, start taking a few risks, the wickets start falling, then Kuldeep Sen comes in and gets a couple of wickets, and it all changes out there. And you see, that's what happened. The top order batsmen actually let them down. They were playing timid innings. But what freed Mehidy Hasan was the fact that the target was so far away. It's paradoxical, but he was freed because they didn't have a chance. While they had a chance, all the other batsmen tied themselves in knots and then finally perished trying to force the pace at some point in time. And that is where I think the credit for them is due. And in India, we just couldn't apply that pressure. There was not that finisher bowler was not there who could finally do it. One over from Kuldeep went for a few runs, and then Shardul came back from one end, but Deepak Chahar possibly didn't give them what is expected of him as a bowler who's supposed to finish regularly for India. I think there somewhere in those 4 overs, in last 2-3 Deepak Chahar overs, we didn't have the pressure on that could have happened.
I'd just like to get one more point out of DK, and then we can actually go back to assessing India's bowling effort in greater detail. We've talked about, of course, the contribution from Mustafizur, Mehidy Hasan. Do you think, DK, this was a plan that they came out with at the very start? It's 186. Let us bat till the end and see if we can get there. Or was it something that was dictated by the surface?
I don't think they would have come with a plan saying we'll bat all 50 overs, because you wouldn't need 50 overs to get to this target. I think what they would have done from the way they batted, and rather timid, like what Joy said, is let's not lose wickets. That's the only way that they're going to get into the game. And that's exactly what happened. When they lost one, they lost a couple, at times 3, and that put the pressure on them. As we had discussed in the mid-innings break, we had said that at these kind of scores, it's good to come out positive and play the same brand of cricket that you're used to playing, but they didn't do that. And that put them in a bit of a fix, and it was hard for them to kind of recover from that till the last wicket partnership happened.
But at that stage, you'd have to obviously give Indian bowlers a bit of credit. I know, Joy, you started by mentioning Deepak Chahar 2.0, i.e. his second spell. Yeah. But up front, the movement he got, along with Siraj, we didn't see Shardul till the 26th over. So obviously India had a plan, and when they saw Deepak Chahar getting that movement, he was a very different bowler at that stage.
Yeah, right up front he was bowling beautifully, and he got movement where the Bangladesh bowlers didn't really get movement, and he was doing well out there. But once the ball stopped swinging, the rest of the bowlers did very well. It was the second spell that he went down, and I thought India bowled well till those last 5-6 overs where they let the match go away from their grasp. But till then, it's been a very consistent bowling performance. Because look, finally you're defending 186. That's not a huge target, and you managed to make them lose 9 wickets trying to get that.
24 for 5, if you have a look at that. India also lost wickets at that stage. It was the critical phase after the 30th over. But 24 for 5, not only losing wickets, but they had completely dried up as far as their runs are concerned. And 47 for no loss at 7.83 DK is by numbers, with number 11 out there.
Definitely, GB. I think they would know that, they didn't bowl well in those last 6 overs. I also felt probably Rohit Sharma missed a trick in not giving one of the spinners. Shabazz had 1, Washington had 5, with the field spread out. Just give them the carrot to kind of dangle it in front of them and say, come on, take on the spinner. But probably the ball was a little wet. I wouldn't know from here. So that's the reason why he didn't give. But that's probably something that he could have thought of. But having said all of this, they haven't lost the game because of the bowling. I think what let them down to a large part was their batting. I think the bowlers did a phenomenal job in getting those 9 wickets and getting India into a very, very consolidated, strong position at the end of 40 overs. Until things went awry after that. But it was a batting. They didn't bat those last 8 overs. They didn't stitch those partnerships together. That was the main cause of why this game has gone away from India.
Fair point. I think that you wouldn't want to take anything away from the bowling effort. Yes, maybe Deepak Chahar's second spell, but it didn't cost too much at the end.
Finally,
but the fielding,
defending.
The fielding. Yeah. How crucial was the catch that was dropped? Should be a routine wicket-keeper's catch, to be honest. Washington Sundar, a couple of efforts in the boundary, one which he let a 4, another one which went through his legs.
So yeah, fielding cost India, and of course that catch was a crucial catch. The other one which was crucial was the catch that was not attempted. I think, was it Sundar or Kuldeep?
It was Washington Sundar at third man.
At third man. And that again, you're a captain, you're looking at that and saying, why didn't he go? This is the 9th wicket down. What can happen? You have lots of runs. Even if you overrun the ball and it falls and it goes for a 4, it doesn't matter. He should have tried. So those are the little things that they'll be looking at and saying, we lost these in these. It's a god of small things. Those are the small things that cost us the match finally. Because our bowlers had brought us right back after the batting had failed. And then those little we lost those little defeats.
Also, the parabola of that particular shot is not the kind that would go past you flying to the
Yeah,
boundary.
exactly.
It was not coming flat. It was coming like a golf shot that was going to plug. And maybe he should have gone for a DK. Your assessment on India's fielding, they'll have to do a bit of work on that.
Well, up and down. Let's not forget the catch that Virat Kohli took. Phenomenal catch. I think, obviously to get rid of Shakib Hassan. Very good catch by KL Rahul as well of Liton Das. Two good moments. But obviously KL Rahul's drop towards the end. And Washington not coming. I don't know if whether
Sighted.
he didn't come in because of the lights and hence he couldn't see the ball coming. That could be one reason. I wouldn't know. But if he had seen the ball, he should have gone for it. And that's only a question that he can answer. How was the fielding effort overall? I think 50-50. Not the best day, but not the worst day either. I think towards the end, with the pressure, we left a couple of boundaries towards the end. Those are the smaller things. I think it was a great game of cricket. Both teams fought well. Neither team deserved to lose in a way. But I think credit to Bangladesh for having found a way to win these kind of games. Sometimes you need that. And this game, if India had won, these are the kind of games that you kind of put the wood over them where, when they come into a big tournament, they know, geez, it's India. What are we going to do? Sort of an attitude. That's what they come with. Those are the kind of games, low scoring game, but India finding a way to still win it. That would have really hung on the heads for a long time.
Yeah, and I think it'll do a lot of good for Bangladesh because just like TK mentioned, these are the kind of games they've lost in the past. They've come close and maybe even celebrated too early. And I think this was the one thing that they didn't do. Not from a fielding perspective, from a batting perspective.
No, I fully agree with you. They talk about champion teams. They have to have a lot of ugly wins. This would have been an ugly win. You just get over the line. You've not, you've collapsed in the middle order. You've taken so many chances, but you've still got over the line. And if India had won, it would have been an ugly win for India. And they would have said that, look, no matter what we do, India always finds a way to win finally. And I think that monkey's off their back and the series is wide open now.
6 out of 36 attempts, TK. I think that puts into perspective how dominant the neighbours have been over Bangladesh. And I think they will go back into the dressing room and say, if we look at the 6 victories that we've got, this is one of the most special ones because it was way out of reach for us at one stage.
Definitely. I think that's what makes this win very special for Bangladesh. I think considering they played 35 and lost 30, I think they somewhere at the back of their mind know that obviously every time they play against India, it's a massive, elephant on their back. But finding a way to win these ugly games, just like what Joyce said, those are important. And that will give a lot of confidence in the team. And that Mehidy Hasan showed. He has that dog fight in him. You can see he bowls those tough overs, bowls in the power play, and then comes back and bats and makes sure he gets a job done. So that was really good to watch. We know how passionate their fans are, and they definitely needed this win.
We saw some faces when there was when the 9th wicket fell, and we were almost feeling sorry for them no matter which side you were on.
No, absolutely. I mean, the Bangladesh fans and Virat Kohli, they're the most expressive characters in world cricket. Bangladesh fan, Virat, you just have to see their faces and know everything that's happened in the game.
And so many
Joy,
players
you're forgetting the
were being
Pakistani fan.
Pakistani fans have a different expression. Pakistani fans actually they're brilliant that when they look completely dejected, they have a particular look which is the thing. But Bangladesh is like, the expression goes from A to Z in about 30 seconds if you see the ball in the air and they drop a catch,
But I'm glad DK sort of slightly tweaked the expression because when you've got the weight of such a almost a differential with another team, it cannot be a monkey on your back. It has to be an elephant on your back.
Exactly. Very true. Absolutely true. We should.
So one down in the series, there will obviously be a bit of a post-mortem maybe. I mean, it's not the end of the world, of course. It is a bilateral series, but since we've been building it up as a sort of road to 2023, there'll be these little moments that India will want to look at, both sides will want to look at, because Bangladesh might have won the game, but they'll feel that there are enough reasons for them to have possibly done the run chase differently. They'll be proud of their bowling effort. So I think both sides in the batting department, DK, will want to look back and say, if we could play this match over again, there are a few things we'd do differently.
Definitely, GB. I think without a doubt, both the batting lineups obviously didn't do as well as they could. But having said that, it was a really hard wicket to bat on. I think especially when Shabazz and Washington was bowling, you could see the ball turning. And it was seaming throughout that brilliant spell that Shardul bowled through the middle, 6 overs, where he literally gave no runs. And finding a way to beat the bat on numerous occasions in the second innings says that the wicket had a lot. I think This wasn't one of those 300 games that we had predicted. This was probably a 240, 250 kind of pitch. Not a 185 pitch, but a 240, 250 kind of pitch. And I think 60-run shot is the number of overs that India didn't end up playing. That was the major difference.
Yeah, I think both sides will look at that. I mean, Bangladesh, when you're chasing a score that the opposition has batted 8 overs short, you're, again, as DK said, you're not going to think of 50 overs to bat it out. But at the end, they got pretty close to batting 50 overs.
No, I think both batting units have a lot of introspection to do. Both bowling units were absolutely fantastic. I think both batting units have to go back and look at this match. And I think Rohit is to tell us, guys, that, we are an experienced team. We are the more experienced international team. Let's finish the games. We allowed this. We didn't finish this game. We played well enough, but we didn't finish.
But enough positives to take out. DK was unequivocal when he said that let us not point anything towards the bowling department. They were excellent in picking those 9 wickets. 9 could have become 10. You need a little bit of luck going your way for that as well. But with some of the key bowlers in India's plans for 2023, obviously not there, DK, for someone like Mohammad Siraj, 10 overs, 3 for 32, is really one of the positives India will take out from this game.
Absolutely. I think he's been very consistent in the recent past. Against South Africa, he was man of the series. Against New Zealand, again, he bowled really well in the T20s. He's looking good. I think he is one of those that if he has a decent run in the IPL and from there on, if he keeps continuing his form, I have a feeling he's a sure shot going into the World Cup as a bowler because he picks up wickets, bowls good lengths, and he is a handful with the new ball and the fact that through the middle he's able to pick those wickets as well. So he's definitely somebody that India will be looking at in a very keen manner. We know a Bumrah is there, but the other slots are open for the moment. So there will be a few contenders, but I think Siraj is one hell of a strong contender going into that medium pace attack, or rather, sorry for saying that, but fast bowling attack that India would possess in this World Cup.
Corrected right in time. But yeah, I mean, Siraj can produce some pace over there. And we mentioned he was one of those bowlers where you can be a hit-the-deck bowler and therefore talk about that often lean middle phase we are talking about. And in fact, when Siraj's spell finished, you almost seemed as if, can I have one more from him?
Yeah. I think that's what, if Siraj had got the wicket there and finished it off, maybe it would have happened. But that's exactly what happened. They got that opportunity. The other bowlers didn't keep that kind of pressure on. Shardul was decent, but on the other end, we leaked a few runs, and I think that's where it went. But Siraj
32 to get when Siraj bowled out.
Yeah, I think Siraj is definitely. They say that nothing can replace wicket taking, and that's exactly what he does. He finds a way to get wickets. He finds a way either to get one or two Jaffas, or just and consistently take wickets across all formats. And I think that's why he's important for India. Because as scores start increasing, and you're playing subcontinental cricket, flat pitches, scores start increasing, wickets become more and more valuable.
Quick assessment of Kuldeep Sen, DK. First outing, obviously, we've seen enough of him in the IPL, but for him to make that transition, what does he have to do going forward? He's just had his first taste.
Yeah, I think it'll be unfair to assess him on a whole today, but I don't think he's had his best days. I'm sure he's bowled better. I've seen him bowl better, not one of his better days. I think he started slightly raw, but he looked good through the middle when he bowled. But I think he would be very disappointed with how he bowled that last over. And that can happen. It's a debut. He's playing for the first time. The pressure can get to you. He almost got India into a winning place. He got those 2 wickets. So I think he will be saying, okay, it's been a learning experience. And I think I have to obviously keep pushing myself and getting better. But was he really on the first day, did he look as promising as they thought he would be? Maybe not.
Yep, but certainly we've got lots of positives in terms of Shardul Thakur coming in late, providing that meager spell, then getting wickets, Siraj getting wickets. So lots of positives for India to look ahead to. But overall, if we have to assess this match as an ODI in the context of a format which is the most challenged of the 3 formats, there's the tradition of Test cricket and there's the entertainment factor of T20 cricket. ODI cricket falls in between. What does this match do to you in terms of the future of ODI cricket?
Well, I think this is a perfect ad for ODI cricket. That ODI cricket actually gives you a little bit more time than T20 cricket to recover. In T20 cricket, the momentum goes, it's almost swung too much. Okay, here you have, you can go down, you can lose a few wickets, you can have a few fallow spells with the bat, and you can come back and still make the runs. And I think that is the great thing about the format. And that's the greatest advertisement for the format. Also, the Bangladeshis play this format the best. And therefore, I think it was a fantastic match. This has done no harm to the cause of ODI cricket, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tailor a match, you can't write scripts for it, but if a script has to be written more often, DK, you'd want more scripts like that, a low-scoring thriller.
I've always been a big fan of low scoring thrillers because I always find it like a chess match. Whenever I've captained as well, you have to somehow, in many ways, be willing to lose and set fields that could be a little more attacking than what it could be than a rather dull and drab phase. You kind of find ways to, bait the batsman and say, okay, I want you playing this shot. I'm giving you this gap. Let me see what you can do. Subconsciously, these kind of games do happen. And hence, I always enjoy a low scoring thriller because there is always a chance. Low scoring thrillers more often than not means that the wicket has a lot in it, and that would obviously give a lot to the bowler, and hence it becomes a very even contest a lot of the times between bat and ball. And I've always enjoyed a contest like that. And just like what Joy said, I think it's been a great advertisement for ODI cricket. Yes, the scores might not be big, but it was a really, really interesting match from both sides.
Just to add to what our assessment has been here on Cricbuzz Live, to what the Indian captain has said after the game, obviously stated the obvious, we just didn't have enough runs, didn't point anything at the bowlers. We were looking at 240 to 250 after the 5 over mark, which is what we felt as well. When you keep losing wickets, it's difficult. We need to learn and understand how to play on such wickets. No excuses, because we're used to such wickets. And again, in the context of what's coming in 12 months' time, maybe not exactly the surface, but something kind of similar could pretty much be on the cards.
No, absolutely. The interesting thing is he didn't talk about the fact that we didn't complete the match. Because what he would have said is that if he gave our bowlers so little, the fact that they almost got us there is enough. He's not talking about that part of it at all. And I think that's interesting. The fact that he shifted it to where the match was really lost. That 187 means 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, you're going to lose that match. The fact that our bowlers pulled it back so far is credit to them. And I think that's interesting.
In terms of Rohit Sharma, the person, you've talked a lot about it. We talked about it in the previous series as well, in terms of how he's handled the team, the individuals, when it comes to maybe someone sitting out or being brought back into the team. What is Rohit Sharma, the captain, like at the end of a match like this? What would he be saying in the dressing room?
I think today would be a day when he credits the bowlers. He knows he brought them back in the game. They in many ways delivered for the first 40 overs of the game, and that's 80% of the bowling. So he'd be very happy with that. What he would be disappointed with will be a little bit of the fielding. I think he would expect a little more from the fielders. In those clutch moments, you want those half chances to be taken. You don't want to give them the easy boundary, and definitely have a word with the batter saying, I know it's one blip, but we are going to encounter these wickets in the next couple of games as well, something very similar. So let's figure out. Let's not keep looking at 300 and 320. Let's be very realistic about what we can get and bat towards that as the goal.
Yeah, and I think he will look at the fact that even the home side, who are probably even more used to these conditions, also didn't adapt well enough. So he'll say, listen, both sides didn't do it. It's up to the side that adapts better to these conditions and tries to put on, as DK said, a 240 rather than a 300.
Yeah, I think that reading of the wicket is really important, and I think they're going to look at it very, very seriously. I think they move to Dhaka from here and then to Chittagong. So the surfaces will change, obviously. You're not going to play another match in Mirpur. But one thing that I want to say is that these targets are the kind of targets which senior batsmen set the best. I mean, it's a Rohit who knows better than anyone else after walking out saying it's a 240 or a 260 or a 270. He would know best. He would have been advising the batters who are going out, this is what's happening out there. And actually, I felt the conditions were more difficult in the Bangladesh innings for batting. I feel the pitch had deteriorated even further, though it wasn't easy in India's time, but I don't think it was easy in Bangladesh's time either. I think it was a bit worse.
Just a final comment, DK, a reaction to that from Rohit Sharma. Again, after saying no excuses, he didn't feel that something like this can be turned around in a couple of practice sessions. I feel the genes are there and it's only about handling pressure. I'm sure these guys will learn and we look forward to the next game.
100%. I think, 2 practice sessions are not going to change you too much as a player. That's always the case. That's always how it works. But what will help is introspection on an individual level. And the one good thing about Indian team over a period of time is their ability to bounce back from adversity. I think they've been a team which is constantly been thrown challenges, but they've found a way to come out on tops. And we will definitely see Team India coming out much, much stronger and play a strong game of cricket in Game 2.
Yeah, it's not a very quick turnaround. We're used to 48-hour turnaround. This is going to be 72 hours, a couple of days in between. No change in venue. They're going to go back to the same hotel. They're going to have the same practice venue and come back to the same stadium in Mirpur to play game number 2, one down in the series when they were so close to being one up. Now, 3 days' time, Joy, not much is going to change. If you've had a look at the surface, the square is generally going to behave pretty much the same. So you've really got to start telling yourselves, okay, what can we do differently in 3 days' time?
No, I think that's exactly what DK said, that it's not a question of what you can do differently. It's that what am I capable of doing, which I did not execute in this match. That's a simple thing. That's all they need to say. If we can give our bowlers 250, 260, 270, definitely we're going to win matches out here.
And in terms of personnel, DK, which we usually like to do as we look ahead to game number 2 in this 3 ODI series, the bowlers have done the job. You're not really looking to change personnel in the second match of a 3-match bilateral series, but we'd still look to put up the Indian squad and see if there is possibly any reason to have any sort of changes, DK. Anyone that you'd like to see come in for any particular reason? Maybe an Umran Malik coming in there and just injecting some pace.
I feel on the contrary, there might be Akshar Patel coming in for Kuldeep Sen, or an Akshar Patel coming in for Shabaz Ahmed, and an Umran Malik coming in for Kuldeep Sen. These are the only 2 changes that I can think of. I mean, it's not obviously in any way reflective of what their performance was, but obviously Akshar has been for some time the all-rounder that Team India has had, and he's had a great run in ODIs as well. In many ways, he'll bolster the batting to a large extent. And Umran Malik, obviously in the recent past, has been blooded to play ODI cricket. Did a fair job in New Zealand. No one knows why he wasn't picked for Bangladesh, but now that he's got the opportunity, I think they might go back to Umran Malik, knowing what he gives us through the middle.
Yeah, just that X factor we talked about, and I think that's what Umran Malik can possibly bring. Again, looking at that squad again, Joy, do you concur with DK? Do you have any other names you want to throw in the ring?
No, not really, because the batting is just one chance. Umran, I would have liked to see him run today, but I mean, obviously, it's a decision that's been taken. I'll feel hard done. I mean, Kuldeep Sen would feel hard done if he's dropped after just one match. But if India's 1-0 down, it's a series on the line. I think the precedence is what will be more useful to India. And I think they'll look at it that way, not saying, we can't give you a chance now, maybe a second chance. But India's winning is more important than blooding him in more seriously.
And of course, they will give themselves a gentle reminder, or maybe they won't, DK. The last time they played an ODI series in Bangladesh, Bangladesh edged that 2-1. So I think the home fans will be screaming that from the treetops.
From all over, I think everywhere they go, there's a traffic jam in Dhaka from whatever I've seen, and everybody is going to come out of the window and say, be careful of that second match. But these are the kind of matches that Team India needs. Pressure. Heading into the game, there needs to be pressure. And that is what is going to help Team India come October and November. So, in many ways, I'm very happy with how things are panning out. Middle order getting an opportunity, India probably losing a game, but you want to walk in with pressure no matter who the team is, and that's where they keep getting better.
Yep, let's remind you that we keep putting it in context. If you watched us on Cricbuzz Combox, DK was saying that happy that India lost those 3 early wickets. You're never happy when India loses early wickets, but in the context of preparation, yes, you're giving the chance to a middle order. In the context of preparation, you're giving yourself the chance to say, yes, we've lost a game. What could we have done better when it comes to maybe a crunch game at the World Cup 12 months down the line? In terms of Bangladesh, well, they probably want to start the next game right now. They're just feeling so good about life. They're checking the schedule. Can we change it? Can we play through the night and maybe just get the momentum going to the next game?
Absolutely. I think they will be celebrating. They'll be right on top. And because it's been a seesaw match, they'll enjoy it even more. They had the match. They knocked India over very fast. Then they lose these wickets, but they come back and win. It's like the fairy tale ending that they've got. So they'll feel even better. If this was a 50-run, a clinical, say, 15 overs, they finished it with 6 wickets in hand, it wouldn't feel the same. This is a very sweet win for them.
Yeah, Mehidy Hasan Miraj has gone out and bought a lottery ticket. Also, in case he wants to in his future life join politics as some of the players do, he can file his nomination right now. He'll get plenty of votes. But let's have a look at the Bangladesh squad and see if we see any particular reason for them to be bringing anyone in. The one name that stands out is Taskin Ahmed, because we were told he's missing for one game. They are, of course, missing the opener up front. But Taskin Ahmed comes in straight for probably Hassan Mahmood.
Yeah, Taskin for Hassan. That's what I was thinking. Because I thought Ibadat did very well. And Mustafizur definitely is one of their frontline bowlers. That's the only change I see. I mean, Tuskin for Hassan Mahmood is the only change logically that should happen.
Yeah, DK, you were singing high praises for Taskir Ahmed as the leader of their attack. If he's fit and well, they'd want to draft him straight in.
Absolutely. I think that's a no-brainer. If he is fit, he'll get a go in the second game, and the new ball bowling will be even better.
Yep, new ball bowling will be even better. We saw some pace from Ibadat. We saw occasionally when the ball did carry, occasionally kept low. We saw some help for the spinners. So in that sense, everybody had a bit of a chance to show their wares at this particular game. So while you may say occasionally it was a little sluggish, you wouldn't mind if it gives you a last over thriller. Joy, the only one to finish in the reign of thrillers is your question, which has kept us on tenterhooks throughout, not the 100 overs, whatever number of overs.
Number of overs that we've had. No, absolutely. And this is a question that, as I said, DK would say. It was Shubham Arora in 2021, Aditya Tare before him. Who is it in 2022? And, you know, Shubham did something against your Tamil Nadu team very recently, a couple of years back, if you remember. He got a century in the finals, the Vijay Hazare, and they beat Tamil Nadu in the final of the Vijay Hazare. Then he was the man of the match then. The year before that was Aditya Tare for Mumbai.
The Sheldon Jackson?
It's Sheldon Jackson.
Sheldon Jackson, yes. Of course, we could have talked about Rituraj Gaikwad because he got a century every single match that he played in the Vijay Hazare. Got one in the final as well, but ended up on the losing side, and it was in the losing side to Sheldon Jackson, who chased the runs down with a magnificent 100 and upstaged Gaikwad to get Saurashtra the trophy. But who's getting the trophy as far as our quiz winners are concerned? Oh, I love that. Ronak, how do you work out on that Twitter handle?
I've got to follow this Twitter handle because it's an unusual one.
O_off_n. Go on, Ronak, tell us what that comes from. It's a mystery to us. We've been solving a few mysteries today. How India didn't get over the line, that's a bit of a mystery as well, but we'll try and solve that when the series is finished. It's set up beautifully. Bangladesh, the home side, lead by 1-0. All the action stays in Mirpur, but 3 days' time we'll be back at the same time at 11 o'clock local time on Cricbuzz Live. Just about time to say thank you to Joy, thank you to DK for your time, and we'll see all of you bright and early in 72 hours.